Avatar Aang is so powerful that he was able to learn and then use energy bending to take away Fire Lord Ozai's bending in a single day. Being the youngest individual to pass the test for the title of Master Airbender at the age of 12, receiving his tattoos and discovering he was the Avatar, Aang has used his airbending to create tornadoes strong enough to lift and redirect King Bumi's massive boulder that weighs something like an estimated 20,000 kilograms or 44,000 pounds if not more, making Aang's tornado at the very least a category F4 out of 5, meaning that his wind speed is something like 250 miles or 400 kilometers an hour, which he then does again against Fire Lord Ozai, this time shooting out a wind tunnel that is circulating at more like our high-end F5 speeds, being somewhere over 300 miles or 480 kilometers an hour that would rip Ozai's flesh from his bone. But Aang's wind speed may be more like 600 to 700 miles or over 1,000 kilometers an hour, as in Season 1 Siege of the North we see a massive flaming boulder that weighs an estimated 10 to 15,000 pounds or 4,500 to 7,000 kilograms launched through the air that Aang then blasts apart with a single kick. With this power, Aang can easily cut through wood pillars, bat away giant fireballs, smash large wrecking balls, explode wooden ships. We see him routinely tear through stone, and even break apart large steel bunker doors and massive long-range steel trebuchets. So of course, Aang easily sends groups of people flying back 100 feet or 30 meters, and tosses others around for a bit of added fun. Airbenders also use their abilities to aid themselves in everyday movement, whether it's just to stand up, walk, or run at something over the near 70 miles or 110 kilometers an hour needed to run on water, with Aang routinely running up and across walls whenever he's not busy propelling various objects like they're a rocket-powered car. Miraculously, Aang has also reacted fast enough to cool a geyser of erupting lava so fast that it solidified, with lava like this being 700 to over 1,200 degrees Celsius or approximately 1,300 to 2,200 degrees Fahrenheit, meaning that Aang's common air blast is still moving at incredible speeds that could quickly break every bone in someone's body, almost instantly killing them. And we see Aang do this on a much larger scale to save a town from a nearby erupting volcano, this time shooting the high-speed air out of his mouth. He can create air shields to block attacks that can shatter apart massive rock pillars, blast from a comet-powered Fire Lord, and pretty much shield him and his friends against anything that anyone could possibly think to throw at him, as well as uses airbending to help him breathe underwater by creating a bubble and fly like a speeding car with his glider, and even make marbles float. Aang picked up the element of waterbending fairly easily, being able to control it to create various tendrils for attacking, grabbing, and sending opponents flying at once. Aang often uses waterbending to douse people with high-speed blasts, with these high-speed blasts moving so fast that getting hit by Aang would easily break your bones and at times cause severe soft tissue damage. Along with creating water whips and even more shields, Aang has used water to downright cut apart large structures in one fell swoop. Like a massive mast of a ship, he has used water to cut through large steel beams inside a massive drill, and like all waterbenders, he can not only swim insanely fast, but Aang can freeze water instantly, trapping people and creating any sort of projectile he wants, if not to just turn himself into a snowman. At the series finale, we see Aang use his waterbending powers to lift a portion of the ocean to extinguish an entire forest, a feat that a non-avatar could only ever dream of. Being given just 1 year to at least proficiently learn the other elements, Aang initially stumbled his way through Earthbending under Toph, but Aang quickly learned to use Earthbending to often hurl anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 pound or 900 to 2,300 kilogram rocks at something like 60 miles or 100 kilometers an hour. We also see Aang use his ability to cut and push downright massive stone pillars that, if anything like comparable real-life pillars, could weigh something like 200,000 pounds or 90,000 kilograms, with them easily kicking pieces off of them, sending them flying at something like 80 miles or 130 kilometers an hour, that at least to say would instantly smash anybody. Other than creating earthquakes to down 96 soldiers at once, create massive walls, and being able to easily tunnel his way through the earth, Aang can use rock or even crystals to create an incredibly protective suit of armor around him, or just to trap people hopelessly in the ground. And Earthbending gives Aang a literal seismic sense that allows him to feel the movements and attacks of anyone around him. And he once lifted up an entire town weighing something up in the tens of millions of pounds or kilograms. Firebending became the last of the 4 elements that Aang learned right before the comet was set to arrive and the series finale was to happen. Aang did learn ancient firebending, or the dancing dragon form from the original firebenders, being dragons, that relies more on the user's sense of life rather than anger, though Aang is strong enough with fire to produce flames that can burst through stone, and like the avatar after him, cut through metal, meaning that his flames can reach degrees up to 1400 degrees Celsius or 2500 degrees Fahrenheit. That would do a lot more than just burn someone's hands, as Aang's firebending could easily char and burn away someone's skin, soft tissue, and give insane whole body 3rd degree burns, and on the day of the comet leave them as nothing but a flaming skeleton. It's only in the avatar state that Aang could bend lava itself, a state that amplifies Aang's power by 100 to 1,000 fold if necessary for the story. That Aang relies on quite a lot. Aang even stayed in the avatar state for 100 years straight after being caught in a storm, freezing himself in a stasis. When it comes to Aang's raw strength, he doesn't look like much, yet we do see him tear off a stalagmite and throw it, meaning that in this instance, Aang is exerting a force that would be equal to him lifting several thousand pounds or over 1,000 kilograms, if not quite a bit more. And during Toph's earthbending training, Aang is also seen carrying an easily 225 to 450 kilogram or 500 to 1,000 pound boulder on his back. And oh boy, can he just hurl a running person. Aang can also take a good hit, often being knocked unconscious for a second, where he quickly recovers, and has gotten very used to falling from really far heights. But as powerful as Aang is, he still has his own limitations and weaknesses. Kind of like me being the weirdo who doesn't want to go too far in depth with these calculations, because I've never messed those up. Due to his monk nature, Aang typically holds back when fighting, not wanting to injure others too bad. And we see him fight with these pacifist teachings all the way to the very end of the series. And as a human, Aang is just as susceptible to taking an injury from any sort of weapon, blade, and if not for his fast reactions and friends, heck, even powerful spirits there to help him, he could and might easily perish, which he does at one point. But if none of this was very interesting, then I saved an interesting fact for last. Finally ending the 100-Year War by taking away Fire Lord Ozai's bending, Aang, being a great negotiator, walled off the colony of Yu Dao to avoid war, allowing the area to remain as a free city that went on to become the world's technological hub, known as Republic City, that we see in the Legend of Korra, as we go over Avatar Korra's absurd feats and abilities in this video. So give it a tap and I'll see you in the next one.